Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Sew with Love Ben of Love's World. In today's video, we're learning how to draft, cut and sew a bishop sleeve. If this is what you're interested in, please stay with us in this video and don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Stay tuned with us here as we go into the tutorial proper. I'll be making use of 5 inches as my sleeve cap, then 13 inches as my elbow measurement, then my sleeve length will be 25. That's the length of this paper. Now I'll use a ruler to rule out my points. Then my sleeve length, which is 25, is the length of this paper. Now I'll proceed to add my round sleeve cap, which is 6. Then my elbow circumference, which is 5.5. I have added my sleeve cap of 5 inches down to my elbow and down to my sleeve length, which is 25. Then I proceed to add my sleeve cap round measurement, which is 6 inches horizontally. Then my elbow round, which is 5.5. Then my sleeve length horizontally will be 5 inches. Then I'll go ahead to join these lines together. I'll go ahead to connect my lines. You can use your French curve, or you can still use your free hand if that's best for you. Now we'll proceed to cut this out. But before we cut this out, this is all for a basic sleeve. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be drafting a bishop sleeve. But if you want to just make a simple sleeve, this is just it. Just cut it out, put your 0.5 allowance for joining, then 1 inch for 5. Our bishop's collar will be stopped here, and a band will be attached to it. So from this my sleeve length, I'll come up by 2 inches. I'll roll this. I will label this as my band. This is my sleeve band. I'll go ahead and cut this off. I'll go ahead and cut it out. I'll first of all cut out my band. This is for my band. Then I'll proceed to cut out the rest of the sleeve. This is our sleeve, and this will be our band. We'll be using a method called the slash and spread method. So now I'll keep this aside and get another paper. I'll get another paper, then I'll put the paper on fold. Basically that I want to make this a full sleeve. You know, this is the half part of your hand. Then when you put on fold of fabric and cut it out, it will become a full sleeve. Now, assuming this is my fabric, I'll put it on fold. I'll place my sleeve. Then you can go ahead and add your 0.5 for joining, then your 1 inch for sewing allowance. Do you understand? And 0.5 for joining this band to this sleeve. Then when you are cutting this one, you will still add 0.5 on top of it. Then 1 inch here for piping. I don't know if you get me. You will put your 0.5 for joining at this sleeve cap. Then for the side of the sleeve, you will add your 1 inch. Then at this tip, at this hem of this fabric, you know that this sleeve have a continuous a band. It has a band that will be attached here. So because I'll be attaching this band to this sleeve, I'll be adding 0.5 here for joining. Then if I'm cutting this sleeve again, I'll put it on fold. Assuming this is my fabric, I'll put it on fold. I'll add 0.5 for joining this band to the sleeve. Then I'll add my 1 inch as my sleeve allowance. Then I can add 1.5 here or 1 inch for piping up the hem of the band. So first of all, I'll keep this one aside. Let's add our necessary inches here before cutting out. If you want this to be just a normal, if you want this sleeve to be just a normal sleeve, you can proceed to cut out on your fabric. Just add your necessary allowances. That is your 0.5, your 1 inch at the side, then your 1 inch here for piping the sleeve. Do you understand? So to we'll go ahead to add our allowances before cutting this out. I'm done adding my necessary allowances, my 0.5, my 1 inch for the side, then my 0.5 for joining the sleeve to the band. Then you go ahead and follow your trace. You can use your French cup to do this. When you're done doing that, you go ahead to cut it out. Open up your paper on your fabric and proceed to divide this into equal parts. I'm using 2 inches apart. I'm using 2 inches. I'm making I'm making use of 2 inches here. And I'll use my ruler to connect these lines. When you are done, start to cut through the lines. Start to cut through the line and stop just before the end of this paper. Just stop before the tip. So this is what we have. We'll go over and transfer this paper to our fabric. Go ahead and spread this equally. When you place on your fabric, spread equally. I'm using 3 inches apart. So I'll be holding this down. Just know that the more you spread this, the more volume it becomes. So I'm using a space of 3 inches apart. So the more you spread 5 inches apart, the more voluminous it becomes. Now, when you are done, I'll go ahead to cut this out. Remember that we have added the necessary sewing allowances on paper. So I'll cut exactly through this paper. You'll be pleating this. After pleating, you will add your band. So let's cut our band. We put our material on fold. Please, when cutting out this band, remember to notch the up. Remember to notch your up so you not get confused on which one is the up and the down part and the hem part. But I already know my up. So we'll put this. Remember to add your 0.5 for joining to the sleeve. Then for the side, you add your 1 inch. Then here, you add your 1 inch or your 0.5 for hem. So I'll go ahead and cut 3 inches for this band. I already have 2 inches plus one more allowance. Let me just make it 1.5. This should serve as our band. Now let's proceed to our machine to do the necessary things to plait and to join our band. If you like, you can plait, but I will gather my own. Now I will leave my 1 inch for my sewing allowance. Then I will start to run a stitch. To gather this, I will look for the one part of this thread. I will start to draw one part of the thread. When you are doing this, you will be checking your sleeve length, your horizontal sleeve length. Mine is 10. Just be checking your round sleeve. You can still check your round sleeve like this way. You can check your round sleeve this way. It should not be tight. It should not be tight. I think I'm using 9 or even 10. It should not be tight. No, this is not a stretching material. So if you make it tight, it might not enter through here. So let me make use of 10, sorry. I'll be making use of 10. So I'll be checking what I'm doing. Once I get to 10, I will stop immediately. I will go ahead and join my band. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and join my band. The right side of your band facing the wrong side of your sleeve. Now sew exactly on the first stitch that you made. Sew exactly on this first stitch that you made. Flip this to the front. Flip this to the front. When you flip to the front, you fold in by 0.5. Fold in and run a stitch down. When you flip to the front, you now have the front side of the band facing the front side of the sleeve. Then you flip in. See how it's looking? This is how it's looking. This is it. So we'll go ahead and flip this to the back using the 1 inch that we left. We use our 1 inch to run this down. Go ahead and flip to the front. Flip this to the front. This is it. You can attach to your top. So guys, this is it.